It's no secret that some of the greatest queens from the African continent come from Nubia. Nubia just seemed to be a homeland for great African women. Perhaps the symbolic power of the matrilineal system in Nubia gave women a unique confidence. Whatever the reason, one of Egypt's greatest queens is said to have come from Nubia. What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and I'm back at it with another video of African history, culture, and worldview. And as always, if you want to support the Home Team, you can do so on patreon.com. I have some new rewards for you guys, so be sure to check that out. Also, go to Afrographics.com, a website where you can find unique illustrative infographics summarizing African history. All links to Patreon, Afrographics, and Home Team merchandise are in the description box below. Now, I'd be careless if I didn't mention that some scholars aren't exactly sure if Queen Ta was actually of Nubian extraction. But the general consensus does seem to support this claim, as most scholars agree that Queen Ta was not a native Egyptian. And since Africans from further south played many roles throughout Egyptian society, it's more likely that Queen Ta descended from one of these various Nubian ethnic groups. Queen Ta is not only one of the greatest queens of Africa, but she's amongst the greatest women in world history because of the power and influence she exerted during both her husband and son's rule. Ta was the queen of Egypt during its most popular period, the 18th dynasty. She was the wife of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, the mother of Akhenaten, and the grandmother of King Tut. Besides the customary titles for a queen like hereditary princess, lady of the two lands, king's wife, or great king's wife, Ta was also known as mistress of Upper and Lower Egypt and mistress of the two lands. Her father was said to be a man named Yuya and her mother, Tajuya. And even though she didn't come from royalty, her family was still highly regarded in Egypt. She even grew up in the royal palace due to her mother's position as a servant to the queen mother. However, some claim that she wasn't a servant but a high priestess of considerable power. Her father was said to have been master of the charioteers and was greatly respected. Either way, Ta had access to the royal house and her family enjoyed an elevated status. Thus, Ta made a great candidate for marriage for the young Amenhotep III. Upon the ascension of the throne by Amenhotep III, Queen Ta also came to power. Ta ruled with the same authority as a man and exercised her power in equal measure with the great kings of the ancient world. From the onset, Queen Ta was a significant force at court. Margaret Bunsen, one of the primary scholars on ancient Egyptian history, says that Queen Ta was intelligent and diligent, and the first queen of Egypt to have her name on official acts, even on the announcement of the king's marriage to a foreign princess. The Amarna letters proves that Queen Ta was highly regarded even amongst foreign rulers, as she communicated with them directly, a very rare and virtually non-existent occurrence. She presided at festivals, met with foreign dignitaries in person, and even directed both domestic and foreign policies on numerous occasions. For a foreign ruler to openly communicate with another ruler's wife concerning affairs of the state is certainly impressive. Not only did it show the great respect Egypt had for her, but it also showed the respect other foreign nations had for her as well. Her name was seen on a cartouche, like that of any other Egyptian king, signifying her importance. The royal couple presented a united front in dealing with domestic and foreign policies, as mentioned before, and the reign of Queen Ta and her husband is considered a high point in Egyptian history. Her husband honored her greatly, and it's clear that he considered her as his equal, as she's depicted in statuary as the same height as him. This is in stark contrast to other kings whose statues showed them mounting over their wives, symbolizing their power. Another interesting fact is that Amenhotep III seemed to genuinely love and adore his wife. Amenhotep III built her a new palace west of Thebes in a place now called Malkata. Also, for her pleasure, he made an immense lake dug in the desert for her. In addition to her royal status and testament to her origins being in Nubia, Amenhotep built her a temple in Nubia dedicated to her, as she was worshipped as a living form of the goddess Hathor. The countless artwork depicting them together and enjoying everyday life began to revolutionize Egyptian art, which had previously been in serious decline. Scholars David O'Connor and Eric Klein have this to say regarding Queen Ta. The unprecedented thing about Ta is not where she came from, but what she became. No previous queen ever figured so prominently in her husband's lifetime. Ta regularly appeared beside Amenhotep III in statuary, tomb and temple reliefs, and stela, while her name is paired with his on numerous small objects, such as vessels and jewelry, not to mention the large commemorative scarabs, where her name regularly follows his in the dateline. New elements in her portraiture, such as the addition of cow horns and sun disk, attributes of the goddess Hathor, to her headdress and her representation in the form of a sphinx, an image formerly reserved for the king, emphasize her role as the king's divine as well as earthly partner. Amenhotep III built a temple to her in Tedinga in northern Sudan, where she was worshipped as a form of Hathor. After her husband's death, her son, Amenhotep IV, also known as Akhenaten, took the throne. She then took on the title of King's Mother. Even though Akhenaten really stirred up Egypt with his controversial religious reforms, even changing his name, Queen Ta still seemed to have supported her son throughout it all. Whatever she felt about his changes, her love for him overruled the power of religion itself, which is testament to her loyalty and her character. She still exhibited an important role in the political sphere and continued correspondence with foreign rulers. What solidifies her legacy as a great queen and a great woman in the ancient world is how she directly influenced one of the most popular queens in world history. When you can essentially duplicate yourself and pass down knowledge and skill to someone else, your legend truly never dies. Queen Ta's example is thought to have served as a model for her daughter-in-law, Queen Nefertiti. As Nefertiti enjoyed the same status as Ta, served the court in the same capacity, and most importantly, took care of the affairs of state when her husband was occupied or distracted from his duties. Nefertiti's actions are no doubt a direct result of Queen Ta's influence, and this is precisely why this Nubian queen of Egypt is one of the greatest African queens in human history. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help out in its continued production, please consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.